Are you looking for a competitive Pokemon deck that won't break the bank? Then look no further, because Rapid Strike Malamar has got you covered. I'm going to go through a deck profile of the deck as well as have some matches with it so you know exactly how to play the deck and how it will run. And as always, I do make these videos multiple times a week, so if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe down below as well as leave a comment while you're down there. Let me know your thoughts on the deck as well as what your favourite budget deck is, if you have played any so far. Let's get into the deck profile first of all. Let's start off by having a look at Malamar then. This is the only attacker in the deck. I mean, you could potentially attack with other things, but for the most part, this is what the deck is built around. Of course, it is a Rapid Strike card, as with many of the other cards in this deck are Rapid Strike, and it has this one attack, Rapid Strike Tentacles. For 1 Psychic Energy, you deal 40 damage for each Rapid Strike card in your hand, and then you shuffle those cards into your deck. So this can scale up very quickly, especially in the mid to late game where your deck is fairly thin and we only have Rapid Strike cards left. You're able to deal huge amounts of damage, and especially in this format, being a Psychic type is very good against things like Mew and Mewtwo Tag Team, as well as the Urshifu VMAX, of course, being a major threat. You can easily take that out, especially since you're a one prizer as well, so trading very effectively against that deck is great to see. Now to combo with this, of course, we have a bunch of consistency cards. One of the main Pokemon to be consistent is the Octillery, which is Rapid Strike. So it has Rapid Strike Search. This ability allows you to search out a Rapid Strike card from your deck, and this just helps with your consistency overall across the board. If you're set up, you have everything, you can just search out a Rapid Strike card to deal damage with it, or if you need a particular card in order to get your attacks going, this will help you do that. We also have the Minccino in here, and Cincino line, that whole thing. Has Make Do, you can discard a card and then draw 2. This is going to be allowing you to thin out any cards which aren't Rapid Strike and hopefully draw 2 Rapid Strike cards so you can deal even more damage. We also have the Oricorio in here. Since Malamar does only have 120 hit points, this Oricorio means that you can draw cards after your opponent has taken a knockout, which they will most likely do fairly quickly, but that's fine because it's going to get us towards more Rapid Strike cards, and that is the theme with this deck, is just building up a large hand of Rapid Strike cards. But the last Pokemon that we have here is the Bench Barrier Mew. Of course, this helps against any spread deck, but for the most part, it is for that Rapid Strike Urshifu matchup. We only have one in the deck because that's typically all you need since you are hitting for weakness against that Urshifu, and it's very easy to win that matchup with just the one Mew. Now getting into the trainer cards, we have a lot of Pokemon Search here. As you can see, we have 4 accounts of Level Ball, as well as Evolution Incense and Fog Crystal. This is a new card that we got from Chilling Reign as well. Allows you to search your deck for a basic Psychic Pokemon or a basic Psychic Energy card, so very effective early game for getting your Incase down, or if you do need that Psychic Energy. We do play 2 of them, so it's very good for getting those. The Evolution Incense, of course, we need to get our evolutions out. We do have a lot of them, so very clutch there. And we also play a couple of Great Ball so that we can further get out our Pokemon, particularly in the early game, but even in the late game this is useful when you do have a thin deck. You can just use this to build up your damage once again. And I do have 2 of the Rapid Strike Fan of Waves, just to slow down our opponent a little bit, putting them back a turn with their energy attachments, but also because it counts as a Rapid Strike card, so of course it helps you to build up your damage. Continuing on here though, we do also have a couple of Scoop Up Nets. This can be useful for using multiple Make Do's. That could be one way that you use it, or just to pick up an Octillery if you need that extra little bit of damage, or if your opponent tries to stall. Any kind of reason like that, it can be useful, but often you will also just have this as an option to discard with Make Do, which is perfectly fine. And again, for retreating options, we do have the Rapid Strike Stadium Tower of Waters to give us some free retreating options there. We've got 2 Ordinary Rod, of course. We're going to be needing to recycle our Malamars so we can get the most attacks out of the game as possible. And then for the supporter lineup, we do have the full account of Professor's Research, as you would expect with any deck, but we're also playing the 4 copies of Karina's Focus. Again, all just to draw cards, which we're typically going to have a very small hand after we attack because we're shuffling those cards into the deck. So then on the following turn, you use Artillery to search this out and draw a whole bunch of cards, which is very good. But again, this counting as a Rapid Striker, very nice. We also have a couple of Bruno, since this is a 1-prizer. Same idea as the Oricorio, you're getting knocked out very easily, so you use this to shuffle your hand down, get a nice big hand size going, and you should be good to go. And then to finish off the deck, we do have a couple of the Rapid Strike energy, well, a full playset I should say. This counts as any energy, but it can only be attached to Rapid Strike Pokemon, and that's perfectly fine for us, as we are only going to be attacking with the Malamar. And we do have the 2 Psychics, like I said, the basic ones, since we can recycle those with Ordinary Rod, and it also means that we can get a retreat off with the Mew and the Oricorio, or even the Minccino as well. So, very good deck, very budget friendly, as I mentioned. That is the whole idea behind this deck, is it's very strong, being a 1-prizer, which I do like my 1-prize attacking decks, and also being budget friendly means that you should be able to easily pick up this deck and start playing. And I've also had a lot of fun with it, so hopefully you do too, and we'll get into the matches here. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are on this deck down below, and let's get into it. Going into this game, we do at least have the Fog Crystal that we can use. That's going to grab us an Inkay, which is definitely a good start off with this game. We also have a Great Ball we could use, but I kind of want to hold on to that for the following turn so we can at least dig 1 card deeper. And also, if my opponent goes with a Marnie on the first turn, then we definitely want to keep that in the deck. My opponent goes with a Crushing Hammer, getting a Tails, so we get to keep that energy around. And unfortunately, they do get the Chaotic Swell, so we're not going to be able to put our Stadium in play and get a free retreat here. That was the other option I was definitely considering in my mind, was just retreating the Remoraid, making it a lot easier to get the Malamar up and going, because now we are going to have to find another energy in order to retreat, and that makes things just that little bit more difficult. We do at least have some supporters we can work with. Going to be a shame losing this Ordinary Rod when we use Professor's Research, but it is going to be necessary because drawing a lot of cards is going to be needed rather than just drawing the 4 that a Bruno would give us right now. Unless of course my opponent is able to get a knockout, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, and they are just going with the Intrepid Sword to draw them some cards, and they even get the energy off there, which is definitely what they're looking for. So we get a Inkay off of the top. Let's Great Ball, see if we get anything. We do get a nice selection here of 4 Pokemon to choose from, so that's not too bad. We get another Remoraid. I think we'll just go with the Malamar, so we at least have the attacker. And all we're going to be looking for now is the energy, so that we can actually retreat, as well, of course, as a bunch of Rapid Strike Pokemon, so we can deal some damage here. We do get the Fog Crystal, so that's going to grab us the energy, but of course it's not because we prized one, which makes life even more difficult for us. I guess we'll take another Inkay just to have it in the hand. We can also level ball here and probably just search out a Minccino. Since we do have the Cinccino in our hand, that makes the most sense to grab one of those. And we can get that into play. We also do have another Great Ball that I might as well play out at this point. We have another Inkay that we can work with, I guess. We'll take that. I don't really need to play it down just yet, so we'll hold on to this hand. Really wish I'd gotten another Remoraid down, just in case this one gets knocked out. But we'll pass over to my opponent to see what they have for us. Hopefully they do actually knock out our Remoraid, since we don't have a way of retreating it at the moment. So that would actually be ideal if they knocked us out. But they are just going to be hitting us for 50. Not quite the knockout, but they do get to accelerate an energy, so their hand is pretty small and pretty dead at the moment, which is totally fine by me, as they don't have a lot to work with. we're going to be evolving here into our Cincino, and I think we'll just Fog Crystal and get the Mew out of the deck and use that Make Do in order to discard it, draw a couple of cards, and hopefully get into some useful stuff here. Let's see what we get. Get some Evolution Incense. Okay, I mean, that's somewhat useful, I guess. We could get an Artillery, but it's just going to get even more damage onto it, so we'll probably want to hold on to these for the time being. And yeah, this seems fine. We'll just pass over to my opponent. We don't really have any rush to do anything at the moment, so we'll let my opponent take the knockout on this Remoraid, and we'll be able to do a lot of damage with our Malamar when we finally get in the active spot. You see my opponent does go for the GX attack now, so they don't want to give us the knockout quite yet. And I kind of want to make do one of these Evolution Incense. It seems fine. It gives us a little bit of a deeper draw into the deck and build our hand. We get to get into another Evolution Incense, so that works for me. Well, once again, just pass it over to my opponent. We have enough Rapid Strike Pokemon here, I think. I've not quite done the math yet, but there we go. It's going to be reset anyway, of course. This is the downside to playing this deck. You have to ensure that you have a lot of Rapid Strike cards in your hand in order to knock out big Pokemon like Tag Teams and VMAXs, and of course your opponent can just easily counter it, as they have done with that Marnie. So all of those Rapid Strike cards go into the bottom of our deck. That's the other part of Marnie that I really hate, is that it doesn't just get shuffled into the deck, it all goes specifically onto the bottom of the deck, which makes things really difficult for us to have to deal with. We do get into an Octillery here, which is a little bit of a shame. It's a bit too late for that. We can always make do and put it back into the deck here with the Ordinary Rod, so let's go with that. I suppose we could Level Ball first. We should still have Remoraid in here, which we do have. Definitely take one of those. But yeah, this seems fine. We'll just go with the Make Do. Discarding the Octillery, we get to draw 2 cards. We're going to be drawing our Evolution Incense again, apparently. And like I said, using this Ordinary Rod to shuffle our Octillery line back into the deck. We could do a reasonable amount of damage here with the Evolution Incense, allowing us to get some good amount of Rapid Strike Pokemon. So let's go with this. I kind of want to get the Octillery for this following turn, so maybe we won't actually be doing that much damage. We'll definitely Incense again, get another Malamar, and we could always use the Karina to just draw some cards here, so I think I might actually just go for that play. And we can even put the energy back into my opponent's deck, force them to have something else, I guess, force them to have another energy. So let's go with this, and definitely remove the, I guess the metal energy is fine, not really going to make a difference there. And we use Karina's Focus to draw 5 cards, seems like a good deal. We get the Oricorio down, that's going to draw some more cards, definitely a good idea to go with that. Got a Fog Crystal, which should search out an Inkay that we still have in the deck. And now we can just straight up draw 3. Hopefully these are Rapid Strikes. Close enough. We've got a Level Ball. And that's going to grab another Rapid Strike Pokemon, I think, just a Remoraid. We could even go for the Scoop Up Net if we wanted to, deal extra damage, but I think that's fine. We're going to hold on to that. So we're currently doing, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 240, but they are reducing damage by 60, so not quite a knockout. Even with the Scoop Up Net, that wouldn't quite do it either, I don't think, as they are reducing damage by so much. So we're just going to go for the attack. We're going to shuffle in all of our Rapid Strike cards except for Octillery, since I do want it for the following turn. And since we are getting a 2-hit anyways, and my opponent is going to be getting a knockout here, I would much rather keep the Octillery around, and it at least ensures that we have a lot of draw for this following turn, and we can get another Malamar set up fairly effectively, as we already have one on the board, so we just need to search out an Inkay and we should be all good here. As long as we can find enough Rapid Strike cards in order to get a knockout, we should be just fine. But of course my opponent has the Mallow and Lana, so as you can see this is probably the most difficult matchup that you could possibly play with this deck. since they do have so much healing in the Mallow and Lana, and also the damage reduction. Reducing the damage by 60 just really punishes our deck, as we're just not able to deal enough damage whatsoever. We do have Make Do available if we want to use that. I think we'll just get rid of the Minccino here that we do have, or Cincino, and draw a couple of cards this way. Probably could have used the Octillery first, but it's not going to make too much of a difference, it's fine. Scoop Up Net, also not going to be relevant at the moment. And neither is Karina. I guess we could draw 3 cards off of it. Probably going to be useful, so let's draw 3, see if we get anything. We did get all 3 of them as Rapid Strike cards, so that actually worked out pretty nicely here. And we can search out another Rapid Strike card with our Octillery. And as you can see, our entire hand is Rapid Strike apart from 1 card. So let's go ahead and shuffle all of these back into the deck and max out our damage as much as possible. We're dealing 210 damage, just short of a knockout. But of course, my opponent is so tanky here. They do have the Cape of Toughness, so they have a massive 270 hit points, as well as reducing damage, so it's very difficult for us to get knockouts here. And they even play the Crushing Hammer to remove our energy. They do go for the Professor's Research, so they're going to be looking for a switch in order to get into a Pokemon to actually attack us with. And there it is. They do get the switch, and they also have the energy, of course, that they put onto their bench, so they can start building up some backup attackers here. But this Lucario and Melmetal does have full HP since they healed it earlier, which is really going to mess us over quite a bit. We do get a Remoraid, it's not going to be super useful. I guess we could use the Octillery first and search out a Karina so we can actually draw some cards. Although I suppose guaranteeing the energy could also be nice, so I guess we'll have to go with this and guarantee energy. We also have Make Do and Oricorio that we can use, so we'll draw 3 cards first. And we get a level ball, we get our research, which is pretty nice. Don't really want to use the research now since we did get into some Rapid Strike cards, which is really unfortunate, but that's just the way it's going to go here. We do have to search out another Inkay, of course, so that we can get some damage in. And let's discard the Scoop Up Net. We do get some more Rapid Strike cards, so I'll take that, and we do at least get some damage in. Hopefully we're able to get more Rapid Strike cards on this following turn, and that should set us up for a knockout. Let's see here, we're doing a pitiful 80 damage, which is definitely not where we want to be at. But yeah, if we get enough Rapid Strike cards on this following turn, we might be alright. Let's see if my opponent has the Mallow and Lana once again to heal this Lucario and Melmetal, and yeah, there is the usual tag call, just a Cynthia and Caitlyn, so not quite what we're scared of, but the Cynthia and Caitlyn does get back Mallow and Lana, which you gotta imagine that they're going to get, and there it is. So they can use it on the following turn at least. They are going to be setting themselves up for a lot of healing. Even if they don't heal the tag team, they can heal the Zacian. That's most likely what will happen if we do get a knockout here. They go down to 3 prize cards remaining. I guess we'll promote a Inkay. Of course, we do have our Professor's Research. Unfortunate that we draw a Karina. That is a real shame. Let's use Octillery first so that we're not drawing into any of these cards. We'll get ourselves the Malamar. Now we just need to draw into the energy as well as enough damage. Let's see if we can pull it off. There's the energy. There's a bunch of Rapid Strikers. So we can also use Make Do on one of these if we want to. Let's definitely put down the Inkays, we need that. We have Oricorio at our disposal. We are actually running low on cards left in our deck, so we need to watch out for that. But we can Make Do, get rid of this Professor's Research. We ain't going to need that at this point in the game. And I think we do have enough Rapid Strikers. I mean, you got to imagine that we do, considering our entire hand is Rapid Strike cards. So you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to put everything back into the deck. We have Octillery, we can always search out any of these cards, so put them all in the deck, max out our damage, and there it is, 280 damage. That's even with a reduction of 60, so we're doing a total of 340 damage there if they weren't reducing damage. And that is definitely enough to get a knockout on a VMAX Pokemon in one hit. And as you can see, this is really the sweet spot of this deck, is when you have very few cards left in your deck, and it is just all Rapid Strike cards that you can draw through with Artillery. You've got the Oricorio that you can draw with, so very good spot to be in, and we're definitely not out of this game just yet, as we're able to get that knockout and take 3 prize cards, making it even with my opponent. They even give us a Marnie, which is actually going to help us out quite a bit, especially if they take a knockout here. Drawing with the Oricorio, this is going to be a great hand for us, and we even get into the Karina's Focus. Not going to be super relevant at this point, but as long as we find a Malamar, as well as the energy to go along with it, then we're going to be cruising along just nicely here. My opponent just settles with an Intrepid Sword, so not a super good play from them. They definitely want to be aggressive here, but they do have time since they have a lot of beefy Pokemon. They have a Zamazenta with another Toughness Cape, or Give Toughness, whatever, and it has 280 hit points, so we're again going to be needing to do that 340. Not quite sure it's going to be possible at the moment. We can use an Artillery here to search out a Rapid Striker. I'm just going to search the deck. We don't actually have a Ordinary Rod. We've prized one of them, I believe. Let's just check the discard pile very quickly. Oh, okay, we haven't prized one, we've lost one. That's what it was, we lost one early game. So we only have these 2 Malamar to work with, which is going to make life extremely difficult for sure. I guess we'll just take a Rapid Striker. It doesn't really matter which one. We could also make do, but again, we're going to be losing a Rapid Strike cards if we do that, which is definitely not what I want. So I'm just going to shuffle these into the deck and see what we can make happen on the following turn. Hopefully we get a knockout. If my opponent doesn't move this Zamazenta, we should be good, but of course they didn't use the Mallow Lana. They searched it out from the discard, or got it back from discard before, and then they used the Marnie on that previous turn, so there's a good chance that they don't have Mallow and Lana here, and if that's the case, then they don't have a switch, or very unlikely that they have the switch, and that would be very much ideal for us. There's another Heads on Crushing Hammer. That's a real pain, and they have the boss's orders as well, bringing up our Oricorio, so making it pretty much impossible for us to do anything. We can use our Artillery here to search, but yeah, we don't have any way of retreating this Oricorio, so there's not really much we can do when we can't retreat, because we need that psychic energy to actually retreat. So I guess we're just going to start passing over to my opponent, hope that they don't have anything, because there's nothing that we can do here whatsoever. The Rapid Strike energy, as you can see here, reads that it can only be attached to a Rapid Strike Pokemon, which means we can't search it out and attach it to an Oricorio, and even if we did, then we'd be wasting it because we really need it to actually attack. So I guess we're just going to have to keep passing back and forth with my opponent and hope that they knock out the Oricorio is all I can really do, in which case we can build up our hand and get a big one-hit knockout on our own side of the board. That's the only real strategy I can see here. My opponent building up a Zamazenta to attack, or potentially just retreat, and yeah, it is the retreat. Definitely makes sense. And of course they're going to be attacking with Zacian. There is the attack and knockout. We can't use our Oricorios to draw now either, which is also frustrating. But we do have a bunch of Rapid Strikers, so let's see what we can make happen. We have Evolution Incense, which sure is not going to be relevant, and we have our second to last energy. Let's see if we can close out this game. We're going to be attaching here. Now, how much damage do we have to do is going to be actually important. They have 60 HP remaining, but they're also reducing damage by 60, so we have to hit for 120, which means we have to shuffle in 4 Rapid Strike cards, I believe. We're doing 40 for each, so no, 3. We have to shuffle in 3. That's fine. We can do that. Let's Evolution Incense, and just to make sure it's thinned out of the deck, we'll go for an attack here. We're shuffling in 3. I guess we could put in 4 just to guarantee it. It's definitely 3, but sure, we'll put in 4 just to guarantee the damage. My opponent giving us a well played because, yeah, they do have that backup attacker and they can take their 1 prize card with it, but I just wanted to play out the match to see how close we could get to actually winning, because like I mentioned, this is a extremely difficult matchup where you're pretty much never going to win it unless you get amazing hands and you're just going to outspeed your opponent if possible. But in this situation, of course, they had the healing when they needed it, and they had the Marnie as well, just everything at the right time when they needed it, and there's not much hope for that matchup. But we made it close. We got down to just 1 prize card remaining, which is all I can really hope for there, and it was a very good one to show off how effective the deck is as well, because we were able to get some good turns in. Let's get another game going here and see how we get on. We're starting off this game pretty strong here, and we're up against a Mewtwo as well. So yeah, Mew and Mewtwo tag team, pretty easy matchup compared to the previous one, considering we can hit for weakness. So obviously that's going to be allowing us to take 3 prize cards on it extremely effectively, and this hand is absolutely insane. We can attach energy, we have the fog crystal to get us energy, or we can just search out a Inkay since we don't have one of those yet, and getting the early auxiliary as well is perfect, or we could just discard it here to be fair and use a Professor Research, which is most likely what I'm going to go for. We do have a Fog Crystal, like I said, to get an Inkay, and we're still going to go for that, despite the fact that we did top deck 1, so definitely getting 2 down early seems good. And we even have the Great Ball to get down a Remoraid or get another Artillery. I suppose that could be useful, or I could just leave the bench space open for something like a Oricorio. So honestly, I think I'll just hold on to the stuff that we've got. I don't really want those, so it's fine. We'll discard this hand, see what we can get into, and I'm seeing a lot of Rapid Strikers, which tends to happen with this deck. And I think we could just pass over to my opponent because there's nothing here that I'm desperately wanting to use. We'll Fog Crystal for a energy, just so that we have one available to us. Not really worth putting it on the Mew. Like I said, we're hitting for weakness, so dealing 30 damage with the Mew is just not going to be relevant whatsoever. So I'm quite happy just to pass over to my opponent. If they get the knockout, then all the power to them, because we'll be able to win the game from there if they go for it. We also needed the double Inkay down because if they have the boss's orders as well as an attack, they could easily knock out an Inkay, so getting down the double Inkay is crucial here, especially just in any matchup. That kind of thing could happen, so really want to watch out for that, and if you can, you want to get the 2 Inkays down. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to win on the following turn though, because my opponent does have the Crobat. Now that I think about it, to be fair, I suppose we could have attached the energy just to retreat in case my opponent had a dead hand and they weren't able to get knockout, but with the setup that they have going on at the moment, I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to knock out a Mew with just 60 HP, so we should be fine in that regards. They're going for a Quick Ball here as well, searching out a basic Pokemon, most likely going to be looking for a Fire Attacker since it is a Fire build of Mew and Mewtwo. Certainly using a Fire Attacker would mean that we're not hitting them for weakness and would make it a easier time for them. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's another Mewtwo and Mew though, so definitely not the Fire Attacker, and if they put that in play, it's going to be guaranteeing that they're going to be losing this game, I'm pretty sure. Now, of course, we don't play any Gust like boss's orders, so definitely a consideration to put into your deck if you're wanting to build this. I just haven't really found the use for it because we are so focused on getting a one-hit knockout up front on whatever it is in my opponent's active spot. And boss's orders, sure, it could help you out if you miss a knockout, but for the most part you just want to clear through what's in front of you. Since you are only giving up 1 prize card at a time, you shouldn't really be worried about losing to the multi-prize decks like this one where you get 3 or even 2 prize cards at a time. Should be all good. Let's see if my opponent finally goes for an attack. They do. They are only actually hitting us for 80 damage, so perhaps it wasn't easy for them to get the knockout, but it certainly will be for us. We have a multitude of ways to draw cards here. So we can actually draw a lot of cards. We have Oricorio, we have the Malamar, and we're actually going to get the Octillery as well, as you can see here. Definitely want to grab that out of the deck. And we can also attach our energy. That's going to be good so that we can actually use the attack. That would be useful. Now, let's start drawing cards first, I think. Or, no. You definitely want to use Octillery first. What am I saying? That's going to allow you to thin out the deck so we can get a efficient amount of damage out. So, let's go with this. There's not really any that is going to be relevant since it's just going to be shuffled back into the deck. So we'll just take whatever. We can Oricorio here to draw 3. My opponent did take a knockout, so we get to make use of that. And we don't really need to use Make Do because it's all mostly Rapid Strikers, apart from the Ordinary Rod, of course. Now, we don't need a lot of these since we are hitting for weakness, but we might as well show off to my opponent, hey, we're here, we're a one prize Pokemon, and we're able to deal a massive 480 damage. If they're not going to be conceding after that, then I don't know what will make them concede, because that is a scary prospect, especially when we're only giving up one prize card, like I said, and they have no response whatsoever. The most that they can do is get a Welder, maybe an Aurora Energy as well, and declare an attack. That's only going to give them one prize card. We have another Inkay here. We can search out a Malamar with our Octillery, and we have the energy in hand, so we're in a perfect position to take another knockout. And this is the easy games that you're going to find yourself in against Mew and Mewtwo, as well as anything else that's weak to Psychic, particularly the Urshifu VMAX, the Rapid Strike, and I suppose also Single Strike, and just anything in general which is weak to Psychic. You're going to have a very easy time against those decks because you can hit for so much damage so effectively. And finally, there we go, we see the concession from my opponent because they have no response to our deck at all. That was quite a quick one, so we'll get into another match and close out this video, hopefully on another high like that one. Looks like we're starting this one off with the Minccino, and my opponent also happens to have a Minccino on their side of the board, so not quite sure what they're playing. It could really be a whole host of things, but we have a pretty nice start here. We've got the level ball, definitely going to grab an Inkay, and we can also get ourselves potentially just a Remoraid. I think would be quite nice to set us off on the right foot. And we also have the Evolution Incest. I suppose we could use to thin out the deck, but beyond that it's not going to be super useful since it is the first turn of the game, of course. I think we could just grab one of our many Octillery simply to thin it out of the deck. We're going to have plenty of Rapid Strike cards here, so I don't mind this whatsoever. We'll also attach onto the active so that we can get a free retreat, or not quite free, but yeah, we're going to be able to retreat here. And we also have another Inkay, which is very nice. Also have a bunch of other good stuff which I don't mind holding on to, so we'll just keep that in the hand for now. We can also use Glance, I guess, to look at the top card of my opponent's deck, which is a Fog Crystal. So considering my opponent was giving us the emotes and all of that stuff, I'm gonna guess that they're playing the same deck as us. Not guaranteed, but we'll have to see. And yeah, there it is. They get 3 basic Rapid Strike cards out of the deck, and it is absolutely the same deck. We've managed to hit the mirror match. The popularity of this deck is already going up from us playing it in this video, and clearly it is a very good choice as a budget deck because people are already playing it, as you can see. So definitely great to see that. And let's go for the retreat here, go into our Malamar for sure, but also have our Cincino, of course, to put into play, and Octillery, and we even have Evil Incense. We have a bunch of good stuff here, to be fair, but I think we just want to get ourselves a couple of Rapid Strikers so we can easily get the knockout. And we obviously want to use our Octillery so we can guarantee us an energy card. That's another great thing I love about this Rapid Strike energy. Combos very well with Octillery, so you can actually just guarantee energy, which is crazy in this format since we have very little energy search beyond, specific energy search, things like the Fog Crystal. If you've got a water deck, you've got stuff like Capacious Bucket, but just general energy search, we don't really have much of that in the format, which is a real shame. Let's search out another Inkay potentially. I kind of like that. Or just the Cincino and then discarding it. Yeah, we don't have another one of those, so let's go with that. We have enough Rapid Strikers already to deal damage, so we can get one of these to make do. We have a pretty nice draw there, so let's go ahead, Rapid Strike Tentacles, put 3, or no, 2. Yeah, we only need 2. Put 2 back into the deck. That works with me. Probably not going to be putting the stadium down, as it does help out my opponent, but it's good to hold on to just in case my opponent, I don't know, tries to stall us out or something. And we get another bit of discard fodder for make do, which is very nice. Let's see if my opponent has the knockout. Do they have enough Rapid Strike Pokemon in their hand? If they do, it's just going to be a case of who can keep this up the most and most consistent as well in general. So that's really going to be the key, since we did take the first prize card. As long as we can keep our Malamars up and constantly attack every turn, we should be able to close out this game since we attacked first. And here we go, my opponent uses Rapid Strike Tentacles. They have to discard 3. I keep saying discard, it's shuffle back into the deck. It's not quite discarding. If it was discarding, it probably wouldn't be as good, but yeah, I don't know why I keep saying discard. It's just we have other similar Pokemon that do that kind of thing, like the Whimsicott. The Whimsicott discards Pokemon tools off of your Pokemon, so I'm probably just thinking back to that. Let's put down the Oricorio. I probably could have held onto it, because if my opponent uses a boss's orders to knock it out, that would certainly help them to catch up in the prize race. But honestly, it's going to help our consistency so much, so I really want to put it into play. We do get a nice amount of draws here, to be fair, so it's a really good job that we did put it in play, and I do have to guarantee myself energy here with the Octillery, which is fine, but that's another thing that's going to be an issue, is whoever runs out of energy is definitely going to be irritating. And also, I've just realised that I don't actually have the Malamar in my hand, which is not good. So we could go with a Fan, I guess, to put in their energy. We could go for a Research to shuffle in, get ourselves a Malamar as well as a Psychic, and then go for a Research. We're going to be losing a bunch of cards here, but it's really the only option that I see. So put the Fan down. We can go for a Fog Crystal. That gets us an Inkay. I suppose it could have got us a Psychic Energy. I should have checked that, yeah. Bit of a misplay on my end. We could have used the Fog Crystal to get an energy, and then used the Octillery to get us the Malamar. So, real shame there, misplaying all over the place, but these things happen, you just gotta watch out for them. I'll keep that in the deck, and we'll go for the Ordinary Rod, shuffle in the Malamar line, of course, since it is our attacker. We're going to need that in the deck, and of course get back the energy as well. Let's just discard the rest of these cards. Unfortunate that we're losing the Rapid Strikers, but we really do need a Malamar in order to attack, and we do find one, thankfully, so not too shabby there. We also have another Fog Crystal that we can use to get the Rapid Striker we need. And let's play out the Great Ball as well, why not? Means that we can keep the Malamar in our hand. And now we'll Rapid Strike Tentacles, put in the 3 Rapid Strikers, keeping the Malamar, and get the knockout on my opponent once again. We also put that energy back into their deck, so potentially they don't have the energy, which could slow them down. We'd also pick up a Malamar off of the prizes, which is very nice, since we do have 2 Inkays in play already. My opponent will be looking to get a Octillery down, as well as a potential Cincino on their side. We do see a Path to the Peak coming down, so I'm guessing my opponent is not playing Oricorio, as they've just shut off our Oricorio. really unfortunate, especially since we had to discard one of our stadiums here. So we're going to have to find a stadium if we want to make use of Oricorio again. That's a real shame. My opponent finding a Karina's Focus, so they can draw a bunch of cards, and they do get the Cincino and the Artillery down, as well as finding the energy. So they've got everything going on here. They're drawing super consistently, which is definitely what they want to see. Very interesting. They're playing Old Cemetery, so very good card for stacking up some damage, because you have to take damage whenever you attach energy, but I'm not sure how relevant that would be in this particular deck. My opponent actually misses the Malamar, so they don't get the knockout here, and we're able to go up in prize cards even further, which is excellent. So let's use the Artillery. That's going to allow us to get a Rapid Striker, and I think we will also use a Make Do. We'll just get rid of the Scoop Up Net. That seems fine, so we can draw some extra cards here. We do actually get the Stadium, so now we can hold that for in these couple of turns when my opponent does inevitably get a knockout. Then we can use our Oricorio, and we can shuffle in these two Rapid Strikers. That seems fine, the Remoraid and Malamar, and we get another knockout, taking us to 3 prize cards. We do have to take some damage there, but it's not going to be relevant, like I said. I guess my opponent is just trying to get some extra chip damage in, while also playing Path to the Peak for potentially the early game, but just in general with things like the Horror energy there that they used, as well as the Old Cemetery, just building up additional damage along with the Rapid Strike Tentacles attack. So slightly different build of the deck. We see they're also playing Pokemon Communication, so definitely a variant of the Rapid Strike Tentacles deck, which is cool to see. It's not an exact mirror match, but so far anyway, we're definitely winning on this side of the board. My opponent does get the Malamar as well as an energy though, so potentially they are able to take a knockout here. I believe they do only need the 2 Rapid Strike cards, so pretty good for them that they only need the 2. But they are going to be needing to put down that NK, which they do find. They're going to go for the Rapid Strike Search with Artillery. That's going to get them a Rapid Strike card. They play the Fan as well. Very nice that they also play it. Love to see it. Let's see, they go for the Tentacles. Do they have the 2, or is it just the Fan? Okay, they're going for the Overkill. They're actually going to play out 3, which is beneficial because they're actually losing cards from their hand, which is not what you want to do when we only needed 2 for the knockout there. We can promote a Malamar, of course, and we have the energy already in our hand, ready to go. We've also got the Karina here, we've got the Artillery, so we should be able to get the knockout. I mean, we already have 2 Rapid Strikers, we only need 1 from the Artillery, which is fine, honestly. I'll just go ahead and search for one this way rather than wasting a Karina when we don't need to, because we can also use Make Do to discard this Mew and draw 2 more cards, which is perfectly fine here. We could always use Oricorio as well if we put the Stadium down, but again, that would be giving my opponent some free retreat options, so I'm not desperate to use the Oricorio just yet, since we do have everything that we need just here. So I'll hold on to this set of cards, and we'll put these into the deck. Putting the 3 in, so we need to get the knockout, and we can go down to 2 prize cards remaining. So far, breezing through this matchup, which is rather surprising because, like I said, I thought this was going to be a lot closer since we are both doing the exact same thing and we should both be consistent, but I guess we've just been that little bit more consistent than my opponent, and we should be able to win this game very convincingly. They do have the Karina's Focus to draw a huge fresh set of cards. They fill 6 cards off of the Karina's Focus there, which is definitely what you want to see. They also have the Fion there, which is interesting that they're playing that, because they definitely want to be taking out our Malamars rather than anything else. They're going to be using Make Do a bunch, discarding those cards that aren't Rapid Strike, of course, just like what we do in order to get the Rapid Strike cards into their hand and thin out the bad ones. Do they have enough Rapid Strikers though? They do have a pretty big hand, so I've got to imagine they have 3 Rapid Strike Pokemon in there. Shouldn't be too difficult, especially with Octillery. It's very easy to find 2 Rapid Strike cards and then just get the 3rd with the Octillery search. We're going to be in a similar spot here, but if my opponent does get the knockout, we have a lot of ways to draw cards, so we should be in a fine position just here. There is the Rapid Strike Tentacles, and they should be shuffling in 3 cards. Are they going to go for more? No, they just go for... Oh, no, we just had to scroll along. They're going to be maxing out their damage, I guess, and showing off a little bit, I suppose, but that's fine. They can show off. We're going to be happily winning this game here. So promote our Malamar. We're going to have to find an Inkay here so that we're ready for the following turn if my opponent gets a knockout. But they don't have a Inkay down on their side of the board just yet, which puts us in a very good position. I could use the Oricorio, like I said, but it does give them free retreat, so kind of don't like it, but at the same time I want the Inkay, so let's go with the Ordinary Rod first, put in another Malamar line, putting in the Inkay as well as the Malamar, and then we also get the Psychic Energy back once again, just like what we did earlier. And we also have the Bruno that we can make use of, so we don't even need to put the Stadium down, I suppose, since it would be helping out our opponent so much. So we'll just play the Bruno to start it off, get ourselves 7 cards, and there we go, there's the Inkay. We have Fog Crystal as well we can make use of. Let's go for the Octillery first, and I mean we could just search out anything at this point. There's not really any particular card that we need, so we'll just go for a Remoraid. We'll Fog Crystal to search out another Inkay just to get that out of the hand, and there's nothing else that we need to do here, so we can Rapid Strike Tentacles, shuffling in 3 once again and getting a nice easy knockout. Going down to 1 prize card, and like I said, they don't have an Inkay ready, so they're not going to be able to get a Malamar and take another prize card, but even if they did have another knockout on us, we have the Inkays ready. We even have a bunch of ways to draw, so we should have no issues taking this last prize card whatsoever, no matter what my opponent does here. Will they promote a Pokemon, or are they just going to concede? We'll have to see, but either way, we've got this match in the bag, and that's exactly what we want to see. Very great couple of games in this video to really show off how effective this deck is at just drawing through the deck, as well as doing some consistent amounts of damage, because that's the thing, you don't always do those big attacks where you're doing, you know, almost 300 damage or over 300 damage. You're not getting that every single turn of every game. You're often going to take multiple knockouts or multiple turns to take a knockout, I mean, and that's just fine because that's basically what Mad Party does as well. And like I said, this is a very similar deck to Mad Party in that regard, and of course they're both very good budget decks, so I'd highly recommend this for new players. Playing out this deck is also just super fun. They go for the Fion, so I mean we can put up an Inkay, we don't mind losing one of those. I suppose we could put up anything really because we have the Psychic Energy in order to retreat, but this is totally fine putting up the Inkay here. And I mean, if they could just pass it over to us, that'd be great, so we can close out this game and we can be done with it, as there's really nothing else that they can do here. There's a Fog Crystal from them, and they shuffle their deck, so they must not have a Inkay left in their deck. I don't think I've seen them playing an Ordinary Rod either. They're going to be using the Fan. Alright, that's fine with me. And they're just passing over to us. We have the Octillery. That's all we need here in order to grab a Malamar. Gets us the Malamar that we can evolve with. We've got the Psychic Energy, of course. Got Evolution Incense. Everything that we need to get the knockout. Let's use a Great Ball, and we get another Rapid Striker. Let's see, how much does artillery have again? 110? Yeah, so we only need 3 Rapid Strike Tentacles. Once again, seems to be a theme for this match, since everything has 110 or 120 HP, so we only need to shuffle in 3 Rapid Strikers. But there we have it. Get a victory against what was essentially the mirror match, but they did have a slightly different deck build from us, which was fun to see. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video showing off how effective the Rapid Strike Malamar is. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.